Hey, hello, this is Praveen. Welcome to .netgurukul.com for ASP.NET Core training. Today we are in Module 1, Introduction to ASP.NET Core. Okay, Session 6 in diving into ASP.NET Core Razor Pages Fundamentals. Okay, so here are the agenda items. So first I'm going to introduce with Razor Pages in ASP.NET Core. Okay, later I'm going to introduce with the project structure or the folder structure. Okay, we'll see the each and every folder and the file importance in this project type. Okay, so nothing but your Razor Pages. Okay, and later this how this particular request and the response is getting processed. Okay, so in we'll study the request process pipeline. Okay, and we'll finally see the dependency injection with the hands-on lab. Okay, so let's get started. So as I told, like with the previous session, we know that ASP.NET Core is a unified programming model, right? So nothing but ASP.NET Core is nothing but MVC plus Razor plus APIs. Okay, so here is something like see here ASP.NET Core. So now that you have some basic knowledge on MVC, ASP.NET Core MVC, right? Like with your previous sessions. Now that we'll jump into some basics on Razor pages. Okay, so let's get started. So once you create the browser pages, okay, here you can see the project structure. Okay, you will have something called as pages folder. You will not see the MVC, like you do not have the controller folder here. You will not have controller. Okay, so nothing but controller is replaced with this particular code behind classes. Okay, so let me connect to my Visual Studio and let's create a template for this. Okay, and explain you that in detail. Okay, I'm just adding a new project. I'm just selecting ASP.NET Core web pages. Okay. I'm just wanted to name this as session 6 Razor pages demo. Okay, I'm just giving some location and just say next. Okay, I'm selecting .NET 9 over here and just say create. See, unlike your ASP.NET MVC core, okay, core MVC. So this is you do not have any models and views and controllers. Okay, it's just pure pages folder, and this particular pages folder you'll have this particular shade folder, which saying that this is the master page. Okay, this is the master layout for all the pages applicable, and you have this index.cs.html. Okay, and this is rendered into this layout, like in this layout format. See here in the render body, your index is going to render into this one. Okay, so if you want me to basically like see the folder structure over here, so this is the www root, like in the static HTML, like static files, like in the CS files or CSS files or JavaScript files. Okay, everything is rooted into this www root, and properties folder in launching settings. Okay, so in iOS configurations and application URL and everything, so everything is set over here in this properties folder. Okay, and this and on the page folder you will have this kind of a ca.cs html. So if you are not aware of all this stuff, like you can remove these things. Okay, I just wanted to remove this one. So I just in the layout, if you have something like privacy, I just remove this one. So when the request comes over here in the program.cs class file, so it goes to map Razor pages. So nothing but it's going to search for pages folder in your root folder. Like if it is the once the pages folder is found, it's going to search for the index.cs html. Okay, let's test that with the basic HTTP request. Okay, let me run this. Okay. So what it is going to do, it do not have any conventional routing specifying this is the controller name or this is the action method and all the stuff, right? There is no controller concept here itself. It goes with a folder based routing, like it's going to search with the pages folder and it goes and finds this index.cs html. Okay, so see here the index.cs html page is getting loaded. So I just my setup starter project has to change. Sorry here. I wanted to set up startup page. Okay, let me run this again. Okay, so it goes and finds the pages folder and finds the index.cs html. Okay, see here it's going and finding this and it is returning this index.cs html. So let me open that particular index.cs html. Okay, Let me open the markup and learn something like I wanted to change about here. Learn about web apps in ASP.NET for browser pages using .NET.gurukul.com. So something, okay, just learn this and see, check it out. So basically what I'm trying to say is like it goes and hits your program.cs class file, and there is no conventional routing or something over here. So what it does is like it goes and find this map of browser pages. So once this it's mapping to the browser pages, like it goes and finds your pages folder, and it goes and finds your index.cs html. Okay, and it's giving this particular index.cs html. See, in the index does whatever which I have changed, and it is rendering the same thing, right? So that's how it's the basic folder structure, the project structure. It is okay. So now that I need to understand that in detail, let me connect to my tab and explain you that something got stuck here once again. So let me connect to my tab and explain you. Yeah, it's connected. ASP.NET Core Browser Pages. So we need to understand this browser pages folder project structure. So only you understand the project structure, you'll be well versed with to the other topics. Okay, the folder structure is very important. Okay, so when there is a HTTP request comes, okay, so it goes to the program.cs class file. So you in the program.cs class file, it is mapping to the browser pages, right? In the browser pages, like in map browser pages, is goes and search with to the pages folder. Okay, pages folder, and which in that folder you will have something called as index.cs html. It goes and find index.cs html. Okay, and it's going to render this, but before rendering this index.cs html, first it executes the code behind index.cs.html, and then later it goes to the index.cs html. So this is the very important point that you need to remember. Okay, so unlike that, first you doesn't develop the markup. Okay, first you'll develop the code behind and you'll go to the markup. So nothing but like, see here, index.cs html. So index.cs html, like it has the code behind like index.cs html.cs. So this is the code. First you need to develop your code in the code behind. So here is the code behind, and here is your markup. So nothing but your tag helper. Okay, you will develop your tag helper later. First you'll develop the code behind, and later you'll develop your markup. Nothing but your tag helper. So let me show you that. See here, I have this index.cs html file. So here I'm not going to directly develop this markup. So first I will go to this code. Okay, view code. So I'm going to develop this code. So this is nothing but your page model. Okay, so it is inheriting from the page model. This is your index model, and this particular razor like markup, like it is going to have two important markups, like you have @page and @model. So this complete class is accessible through this model. So what does it mean? Like whatever you declare over here, like in the variables or whatever the C# components that you are going to develop in this class will be accessible over here in your markup using this particular @model. So this index model is nothing but your reference to your class. See here, index model, here is your index model, right? So here it's going to referring to this model over here, and whatever these variables that you're declaring over here in your C# class, and that, for example, like let's say this is the logger. Okay, so this is logger is accessible from this @model. So model dot that variable name, you will get all these particular variables and you will develop the markup. So what does it mean? Like you need to keep a little bit eye on it and concentrate a bit little. So like not like in your ASP.NET, like where you'll have this toolbox where you drag the controllers and say text box one dot text and you'll access this kind of a stuff. we are not developing the markup first, like, okay, right, neither in ASP.NET MVC also, like first you'll develop the markup and you will develop this code for the controllers, right? Like in the controller, you go to the controller and write all these action methods, right? So it's not like that. So let me connect to my tab and explain you that in detail. So once you go to the demo, you will understand that in behavior. Okay, so Razor pages behavior. Okay, so now that for example, let's say consider I have this form submission form. Okay, so let's say I have this form submission. Let's say I have this name. So name, let I have a text box. Okay, I have this button. So button submit, something like button submit over here. So when I click on this, like I should have something called as like welcome Praveen. So whatever this name that you are giving here, like it should says that, but it should prompt the name over here in this text. So nothing but I'm just posting the data. When I click on this, that should be posting. So for that, here the markup will never develop this .cs HTML markup. Okay, no, not developing that. But first I will go to the cs.html.cs. Okay, you're getting my point. CS HTML.cs class file. So keeping this into your mind, like I will develop the bind property. So bind property is, what is bind property? All the input fields like name or first name and last name or whichever thing the form you wanted to submit. I will develop in the form of a bind properties, like in this uh, input fields will be under bind property. And whatever the variables that you have declared, like in these variables, like let's say there is a list object or variable C# variable or integer type, whichever this you are developing, that is accessible in this form, like in the cs.html using @model. Okay, so I will go to the demo and explain you that in detail, so that you will have this complete picture, but you understand how the request and the response is going to happen. Okay, when there is a request, then it goes to the program.cs class file, it searches for the folder, okay, pages folder, and it's going to see the index.cs html first, and it will go to the index.cs html. So first we have to develop the code behind first. Okay, later you have to go with the tag helper. So here in this demo, like you see that this form, you have this for how that it looks like, you have something in picture. Okay, so based on the picture, I'm going to develop the code behind first. Okay, and I will have this model bind property for all the input fields, and I will develop this cs html later. Okay, let me do that. Let me connect to my Visual Studio. So I'm just closing all this tab. So I'm just minimizing all this stuff. Okay, you know the significant of each folder, right? So first it comes to the map.browser pages. Okay, so over here it's going to come to the pages, and it comes to the index.html. So let me develop this. Let me have this change in the header. Okay, I will have this. I will remove this navigation for home. Okay, I just wanted to develop my own header. So let me run this and show you that before I make the changes. Okay, so this is coming from the master page. See here, this home page is coming from the master page. Okay, I will add the my own tags. Okay, my own navigations. Okay, everything is in this layout.cs html. Okay, I'm just removing this one. Okay, let me do that. Okay, so I'm adding navigations over here. So I added navigations, and I'm adding greetings also. Okay, let me add some products also for get method, and I'm just saving this one. Okay, so what I did is, like, I added it's three navigations like in the index. Okay, so when I click on the home, it should go to the pages folder and find index. So when I click on the greetings, like it is going to go search in the greetings.cs html. So when I click on the products page, it has to find the products folder and find the index.cs html. So okay, let me add this greetings.cs html. Okay, so I'm just going to the pages folder. I'm adding this browser page. Okay, So here, if you can see, I have this in greetings.cs I'm added. So do not develop your markup rightly over here. So you'll have something called as a greetings.cs right? So you are going to develop over here. Okay. So whatever the input fields, like in your input fields, okay, the name input field, okay, I will use the property binding and I will develop this code behind first. Okay. Later I will develop the markup based on this layout, whatever we have, we will develop that one. So over here, cshtml, go to the code. Okay, now let's do this one. So I will define the model property, okay, name, and just wanted to display the message, right? So I'm declaring a string method. Okay, I action result on post. So on post is a method like I'm going to handle from the code behind. Okay, so I'm just saying this is, if it is empty, and say hello name, return to this page. Okay, okay, save all this stuff. So what I have done is, like, from the code based on this UX design, whatever the UX design. So I define the model property. Okay, this is the model property, like I am just capturing. Okay, so and I wanted to display in the message. Okay, and on post, like I'm just having this on post, like if it is like once it is clicked the button, that button. So what I'm going to do is I'm just capturing that into the message and saying, returning that to the page. Okay, now go and develop your page. Okay, so, okay, I'm declaring the form. Okay, I'm developing the form. This is the tag helper, like this is the form, and which is the method of type post. Okay, so I'm just declaring the label and the input field, and I'm having this button. Okay, submit button. So I wanted to display this message in at the rate model. Okay, so control yes. Okay. So I saved everything. So see here the model property which we have given here, the model property. I'm accessing that through this model. See, at the rate model. So I'm declared this, and I'm just accessing this name. So if I change this name, let's say I will change this model property to name. So term test. So do you think that will be accessible here? Obviously no, right? So it doesn't know what is this. So it is saying that what the name, I'm trying to access this particular variable from your code behind, but that name is not available. So that's what it says. Like I just removed it back to this, and I have seen adjusted that. So I just saved it again. So this will be normal. So this is the basic thing that you have to understand. Like you need to develop your code behind first. Okay, so I developed this code behind, and I use the bind property, and I have just used on post. Like in this code behind, like you'll have on post, on get, okay, on delete, and on put, all the stuff. Okay, so we'll come across this all kind of stuff, but you have to understand two things for now in this particular session, like on get and on post. Okay, so how do I get the data from the server, or how do I submit the data to the server? Okay, and that is nothing but on post. Okay, let me run this and show you that. Okay, this demo. So as per on the layer.cs HTML, I added greetings, right? So when I click on the greetings, then it has to go to the greetings.cs HTML. So it will first it will execute this cs.html, and it will render to .cs HTML. Okay, it's taking some time. See here in the master page, we added this navigations, right? So I'm clicking on the page. Okay, greetings page. So now that the text box input field, I have access, I just put this everything in this using this model bonding. Okay, so if you can see, this is the binding property. So this is the binding property, and I binded using the text box. Okay, using this label, the input field, I have binded the property. Okay, I hope you understand. So now that enter your name. Okay, test name. So when I click the submitted, it should say welcome something in the test name, right? So welcome test name. That's what it is on submitted is. So on post it got executed. Okay. So let me put breakpoints in each of this area. So first it came out here. So later it comes over here. Okay, it will execute this one. Okay, once you click on the button, this on post will be executed, and finally it comes and renders all this stuff. Okay, so let me run this again. So for you need to understand the request response pipelines over here. Okay, so first it maps to the Razor pages. Okay, so nothing but it goes and search with your pages folder and index.cs HTML, and it's finally got loaded. Okay, so when I click on this, it goes to cs.cs HTML. See, greetings.cs HTML.cs class file. So it's going to the code behind, and it is all preparing your .cs HTML pages that has to be rendered. So when I click continue, so everything.cs HTML file Razor page has been loaded. So I'll give something like Praveen. So when I click here, it on post will be executed. See, on post will be running. So it says that welcome. Okay, let me remove this. So it's totally we are binded together. See here how this index.cs HTML and index.cs HTML.cs class file is getting working together, like in this thing, like in @model. Okay, @model, it is getting bind. So this is the way like we work. Like we will also do some on post. Okay, on gates. Okay, like we'll do some on gate demo also. Okay, so I will do with the products folder. Okay, so whatever we have done with your previous demo, like I can use the model and the services folder. I'll just copying this. I wanted to display these products in this grid data in this Razor pages. Okay, so we do not have the models folder doesn't mean we should not use models folder in Razors. We can have the models folder to communicate to the database. Okay, and the service folder like in having services like in retrieving the data from the database. Okay, so this you can present in this project or in other project also. It depends upon your project architecture, right? So simple, like what I am doing is like I have this model. Okay, I'm saying that this is the session 6. Okay, let's change it for a better understanding. Okay, I'm just giving this session 6 Razor pages demo. So this is this is my model over here, and I have these services here. As I will copy this and paste it over here. So I just wanted to have this clear understanding like what we are doing. Okay, so I declared this interface in this class file and get products, and I am going to implement that it declared method like in returning this list of products. Okay, I open this one. Okay, I change this instead of session 5, I'm going to use session 6. Okay, so I'm implementing, I just hard coded in this return products. Okay, I'm returning this list of products. So in real world, you'll connect to this database. Okay, you need to connect each and every dots where you need to load this list of products from your list of this from your database in real world. Okay, so for now it is a better practice, like it is a very excellent way of doing this way. Okay, so what I did is like I am using this model and I am using these services, and now just I'm going to develop this products page. Okay, so for that I will create this folder products. I just wanted to maintain everything in this products, because what I did is like in this layout, what I did, it has to go and search the products and it has to find the index. So create this index.cs HTML in this folder. So this demo is for on get. Okay, so I wanted to get this list of products. Okay, and I'm just put that in, and I will display that in the index.cs HTML. So for that I need to go and first I need to work with to the index.cs HTML.cs class file, nothing but the code behind. Okay, once you get the code behind, right, and you'll get the list of objects and go and work with your markup. Okay, so in this index.cs html.cs class file, what we'll do is like we'll consume these services. Okay, we will inject that services, constructor inject that particular services and use that, extract the data from this product services, and we will use on get, and we will insert, we will read the data from the services. Okay, so in this index.cs.html, we will inject the services, product services. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm adding the reference over here. Okay, save it. Okay, I'm doing this. I'm just deleting this one. So I'm declaring this my product service. Okay, so within this constructor class, I'm just injecting this. So I'm having this on get method, like I'm getting this products over here. Okay, save this. Okay, I saved everything. Like in this, what I have done is like I have these services, right? I have constructed, injected. Okay, and I am just reading this. So so this is my products. Like in this particular products, like this is accessible. All the variables declared in the .cs class file will be accessible in index.cs HTML. That's what I said. Like so, here is the my model, right? So do this one. Okay. So I'm just declaring this table, table size. So for each of this model, so I'm just reading those individual properties and I'm creating. Okay. Should see here, like whatever this property, like whatever this particular property like you have, so I'm able to access from this, from this .cs html. So if I change this something like this is something equal to, okay, this will be not accepting. So this will show what's this particular product. Say what's this property. So whatever I declare over here, it is accessible from your in your code behind. Okay, let me show you, let me run this and show you. Okay, so that's a very important thing that you have to understand, like in your browser pages. So over here, I go to the products. Now that you have already seen the greetings page, right? In this is nothing but on post. So on get, like it is going to read. Okay. So I need to host these services. Like one second, I just go to the program.cs class file and I need to host this one. I need to register this one. So I'm going to open this program.cs class file. So instead of saying that singleton, I will going to add scope. Okay, just run this. I registered that particular services, whatever the services you have registered, you have developed, like that has to be registered in your program.cs class file. Okay, now when you run this, so if you can see, go to the products page, like it is everything gets loaded. So see the main differences you can identify if you can first develop .cs.html and then .cs.html gets loads. Okay, so that's the main thing over here. Okay, I hope you understand what we have done with the result pages. Okay, so you understand the request flow. Okay, in the request process line, like in the middleware to the routing folder and to the .cs.html.cs class file to .cs.html as a response. Okay, and the in dependency injection, like you have worked with the dependency injection as well. So if I have to recap everything, like in this browser pages, like you have seen the basic project structure. Okay, page model in ASP.NET Core, like in how this rendering happens. Okay, so now that you have seen on get, on post, like you have different custom handlers also. Okay, in on edit, okay, on get edit, on post edit. Okay, we'll see that in detail in the coming sessions. Okay, so now that you understand like on get for get request and on post for post request. Okay, so you understand the rendering model over here, like in the request process lines and dependency injection. Okay, so now let's get started with your next session, like in browser pages routing, return types and labs in much detail. Okay, let's catch up in the next session. Thank you. Thanks for watching.